Oh, he's absolutely brilliant. His technique is flawless at times. He gets criticised for his safety-first approach at times, but he can be aggressive. He can go through the gears.
He is the takeover, Teofimo Lopez. He is a former featherweight world champion, the 2016 Olympic silver medalist from Newark, New Jersey, Shakur Stevenson.
And still, WBC lightweight champion of the world, Shakur Stevenson.
A Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez clash in 2025 felt like a collision that stripped boxing down to its bare bones, where pride, ego, legacy, and immense pressure blended together under the bright lights, turning control into chaos with nowhere to hide. It was the raw truth of the sport being exposed punch by punch, moment by moment, as both fighters were forced to confront everything they claimed to be, and no one watching was truly prepared for the intensity, honesty, and unforgiving reality that unfolded inside the ring.
Viper-like twitchy. But he makes mistakes, Tess. He drops the opposite hand when he shoots his right hand down to the body against a southpaw. You saw that against Sandor Martin. You saw that in the lab. There'll be opportunity.
This fight happened because the lightweight division finally ran out of places to hide, leaving no room for easy detours or safe alternatives. Every other option felt like a delay. Every other matchup felt like avoidance rather than resolution. Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez kept winning, kept rising, and kept circling one another, building pressure with every performance. Sooner or later, boxing was forced to answer the question it had been avoiding for years. Two undefeated fighters, two vastly different journeys, but the same inevitable destination. When a division reaches that moment, it stops being about personal preference, promotional comfort, or timing, and starts being about obligation, about settling truth in the ring when there is nowhere left to turn and no excuse left to hide.
A lot of people ain't give us the opportunity to show how great we is. A lot of the fighters, I want to say, either they ducked or found a business way not to get in front of me. And I feel like with him, he kind of gave me the opportunity of a lifetime.
Now that's exactly why losing quietly was never an option, not here and not for either of them. Too much had already been said, too much had already been proven on separate paths, and too many questions were already hanging in the air before the first bell even rang. Their reputations were placed on trial the moment they stepped into Madison Square Garden, a stage where history doesn't forgive hesitation. Every mistake echoes louder, every success clings tighter, and nothing goes unnoticed. Legacy doesn't whisper inside that building. It roars, it demands answers, and it forces fighters to confront who they truly are when the lights are brightest and the margin for error disappears.
Like, I felt like you knew how little Lomachenko was, and you kind of capitalized off of that.
Heck no, that man was a lot to deal with.
And then Teofimo said it. "I'm coming to conquer," a statement that instantly changed the temperature of everything, because Shakur didn't hear simple confidence. He heard a direct challenge to his identity. Conquer doesn't mean compete. It means dominate. It means ownership. It means turning the other man into territory rather than an equal. That framing mattered, and Shakur rejected it immediately, not subtly, not quietly, but with clear resistance. You could hear it in the way he pushed back, in the tone, in the refusal to accept that narrative, like saying, "No, you're not conquering anything over here. This isn't that kind of fight," making it clear that this wasn't about intimidation or invasion, but about control, skill, and denying anyone the right to define who he is or what happens in that ring.
You know, technically, they don't follow the system. Teo is that type of fighter. And right now, see the counter right there from Ortiz?
We always come upon that common descriptive of he's twitching.
That wasn't trash talk designed for clicks or attention. It was a declaration that revealed exactly how each man saw himself in this matchup and how they understood power. Teofimo speaks in absolutes, believing that disruption itself is dominance, and he has always trusted that if he strikes first, strikes hard, and strikes loudly enough, the entire sport will bend around his will. That belief didn't come from imagination. It came from experience. It worked before. He didn't ease his way into divisions. He crashed through them. He didn't politely collect opportunities. He took belts from fighters who already had legacies and history written beside their names. Teofimo never waited for permission, never stood in line, and never accepted the idea of earning status slowly. Instead, he raced the line altogether, forcing his presence into the picture and reshaping the landscape through force, confidence, and a refusal to move at anyone else's pace.
Is this going to be a great fight? I don't know if it will. I mean, style-wise, I could see you having a little reservations, whether or not these guys will make for dynamite.
Shakur doesn't move like that, and his confidence never shows up in slogans or bold declarations. It reveals itself through control and precision. He doesn't try to overwhelm you with noise or force. He limits you, reduces you, and quietly removes options until the fight feels smaller, tighter, and more restricted than it did just 5 minutes earlier. His approach is about shrinking space, slowing choices, and making opponents feel boxed in mentally as much as physically. That's exactly why the word conquer bothered him, because conquer implies chaos, invasion, and disorder. And Shakur doesn't live in chaos at all. He lives in structure, in discipline, in calculated order, where every movement has purpose and every exchange is designed to place him one step ahead, maintaining balance, clarity, and control while denying his opponent the freedom to impose their will.
He's full of confidence. He's got a job to do tonight. It is a short notice change, a different opponent, and he's the sort of guy that will adapt beautifully.
Yeah, but he needs to put on a clinical, hard, terrifying performance here.
That same tension surfaced again during the Sugar conversation, and on the surface it sounded minor, just a nickname, the kind of thing fans usually eat up without thinking twice. But this moment wasn't about branding or marketing at all. When Teofimo said he kicked off Sugar Shakur, he wasn't simply referencing a name or playing word games. He was deliberately placing Shakur inside a very specific lineage. Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Shane Mosley. Those names don't arrive with empty hype or casual praise. They carry weight. They come loaded with history, pressure, and expectations that demand greatness every time out. Being placed in that category isn't a compliment you can casually accept because it brings a level of responsibility that has crushed talented fighters before, careers buried under comparisons they couldn't escape or live up to once the spotlight fully settled.
Over the course of the fight, I don't know if he wants it or not, but it's tough to have the conditioning. See, a guy can take your conditioning if he make you fight fast like this.
A lot of people ain't give us the opportunity to show how great we is. A lot of the fighters, I want to say, either they ducked or found the business way not to get in front of me. And I feel like with him, he kind of gave me the opportunity of a lifetime.
Shakur didn't reject it out of insecurity. He rejected it because he fully understood the weight that came with it. In his generation, that word carries a different meaning, a different load, and he wasn't ready to adopt a label that came with someone else's definition of greatness. That's why this matchup was never just style versus style. It was belief system versus belief system. Teofimo thrives on disruption, which is both his gift and his curse. When it works, it looks electric and unstoppable. When it doesn't, it burns energy fast and leaves openings. His career has been defined by forcing fights before opponents are ready, taking control with sudden aggression. Shakur, on the other hand, believes in structure. He rose through patience, Olympic silver, world titles across divisions, every step deliberate and calculated. He builds patterns meticulously and then dismantles them piece by piece. His defense operates through subtraction, quietly removing options and control from his opponents. He doesn't dominate arenas with spectacle. He dominates inches, turning precision, timing, and calculated control into an invisible but unbreakable authority in the ring that forces his adversaries to fight on his terms, not theirs.
You build your career up all this time. Oh, I want to fight this guy, I want to fight this guy, I want to fight this guy. And then the moment comes and it's like, damn, it's here. Like, it kind of like turn you up like, okay, let's go get it now.
That's exactly why some fans worried this fight might feel boring. What most people never discuss is what happened before the gloves ever touched. Backstage, Teofimo is moving like a man trying to convince himself as much as anyone else, shirt off, doing push-ups, dips on the couch, pumping his chest with every motion, silently saying, yeah, I'm ready. I'm here. This is me. Not loud, not obnoxious, but deliberate, calculated, and very intentional. Almost as if he wanted Shakur to notice without uttering a single word. That's a tactic fighters use to set a tone, a presence, and statement without speaking, a silent message that bleeds into the energy and pace the fight takes the moment it begins. These are the moments fans never see, but they matter, shaping how every exchange, every punch, and every decision unfolds from the opening bell.
sorry, this is what he does well, Paddy. He takes little small steps back. He's even doing it with Shakur. No, Shakur wants to attack. He's taking little steps back. That just makes you reset it.
Round 1 hits, and Teofimo comes out firing fast, intent on establishing danger immediately. He wants Shakur thinking, okay, this guy is real, and to feel the impact of that intensity for about a minute. But here's what most people miss. Every explosive burst costs oxygen. Every rapid reset drains energy, and Teofimo is already spending it, while Shakur remains composed, efficient, and measured, conserving strength, controlling space, and watching the rhythm of the fight while letting his opponent expend himself early, setting the stage for the strategic advantage that will unfold over the coming rounds.
He put Chamberlain down, and that's how he got this opportunity. As the southpaw jab and the puzzle, as the guys were saying, to solve for Padley, but he'll give it a real go.
Shakur isn't trying to hurt him yet. He's focused on controlling space with precision, inch by inch, half steps, and subtle pivots. He's positioning Teofimo to swing at where Shakur used to be, not dramatically out of range, just enough to disrupt timing. Those misses often matter more than clean punches because they don't appear on highlight reels, but they accumulate in the lungs and sap energy. By the end of round 1, Teofimo has thrown more punches, moved more, and reacted more, while Shakur has quietly observed, taken note, and mapped out the adjustments he'll make, turning early patience into strategic advantage for the rounds ahead.
We were in someone's house, or whatever it was. It's an unbelievable story, isn't it?
Life-changing.
And as you said, Darren, only boxing can bring these stories up. I don't know any other sport that can do it.
And do you know what as well? His Excellency will have seen this with Josh Padley and with Martin Bakole. And if they both lose tonight, they'll be back.
I think so.
Yeah, for sure.
Round 2 might not look dramatically different to casual eyes. Teofimo is still pressing, still dangerous, still quick, but something subtle begins to shift. His entries start to feel off, disrupted and slower. Shakur's jab begins landing just before Teofimo can fully set his feet. Not hard knockout jabs, but precise, irritating ones that break rhythm, force hesitation, and make an opponent reset even when they don't want to. Those small, calculated strikes start dictating the pace, quietly eroding confidence, and establishing Shakur's control without ever needing to overcommit or engage in reckless exchanges.
So you've got, minutes to get the job done.
Bouncing on his feet. Full of fire still, Padley.
This is where the invisible damage begins, fatigue and mounting frustration. By round 3, that small leak becomes a steady drip. Teofimo slows just enough, not dramatically, just enough for Shakur to stop merely reacting and start orchestrating the fight. That shift is dangerous, even terrifying. It's the moment a fighter realizes the other man isn't simply surviving each exchange. He's calculating, planning, and dictating the action, turning subtle control into a strategic advantage that can shape the rest of the bout in ways that aren't immediately obvious, but are profoundly effective.
Two fighters that are at a high skill level that will compete in the sweet science.
These are two fighters operating at an elite skill level, fully engaged in the sweet science. Teofimo starts reaching slightly, urgency creeping into his movements, not wild haymakers, but subtle overreaches. Shakur draws punches he already knows how to avoid, forcing Teofimo to reset over and over again, round after round. That repetitive disruption drains courage faster than any pain ever could. Courage relies on momentum, and Shakur dismantles that momentum quietly, systematically, turning small adjustments into psychological pressure that shapes the fight without ever needing to land dramatic, fight-changing blows.
There's a body shot from Taylor. Lopez, we're going to come through the front door. He does so with a two-punch combination. Taylor looking to deliver on the inside. Left hook came in from Lopez. Good exchange.
Round 4 is when it starts to feel suffocating. Teofimo remains dangerous, but now he's predictable, and predictable against Shakur is a bad place to be. He's hunting for the equalizer, the big moment, the one punch that could flip the story. Shakur waits, doesn't rush, letting Teofimo commit first, then counters with precision. Then comes the moment everyone argued about, knockdown or not. Shakur lands and Teofimo stumbles, caught by the ropes. Some call it a knockdown, others a rope save, and honestly, both arguments have merit. But the real truth is it didn't matter how it was scored, what mattered was how it felt. That moment shook Teofimo, not because he was hurt badly, but because the opening he gambled on never existed. That's worse. His conditioning keeps him upright, his legs keep him competitive, but mentally, the fight shifts, and you can feel it. Different platform, different judges, different rules. Maybe the narrative changes, maybe the scorecards look different, but fighters don't fight scorecards in real time. They fight momentum, and momentum slipped right there. From that point on, Shakur isn't chasing, he's managing. Teofimo's engine keeps him alive, his conditioning prevents disaster, but control belongs to Shakur now. And that's the essence of fights like this. The loud moments spark debate, but the quiet, calculated ones decide everything.
But Stevenson had him down. For the second time, that was sweet. And Burnley felt that one worse than the first. The counter, he'll try and get up, he does. He's got...
One of the harshest conversations to emerge from this fight had nothing to do with punches. It was about bodies, specifically Shakur's body. There's been a quiet critique lingering for a while that Shakur was slicker, sharper, almost untouchable before the added muscle. Back in the Junior Olympics and early pro years, everything flowed faster, hands looser, feet lighter, and the skills felt pure. As the weight increased, the skill remained, but the body had to work harder to carry it. And at this elite level, even a slight slowdown isn't minor, it matters. That's where Teofimo thought he might gain an edge, believing that the added size would eventually betray Shakur, that the muscle would cost him reactions, and that the pace, physicality, and grind would expose a vulnerability. And there's real science behind that thinking. More mass demands more oxygen, puts greater strain on the legs, and leaves smaller margins for error. At the highest levels of boxing, those margins aren't trivial. They're everything, defining who thrives and who falters when the stakes are absolute.
It was low, wasn't it?
He's just pummeling away now, Stevenson.
But here's the twist. Shakur adjusted. He didn't try to become who he used to be. He became more efficient, minimizing wasted motion, taking fewer risks, and optimizing every step. When the championship round arrived, that adjustment became undeniable. Teofimo went hunting, searching for the equalizer that never materialized. You could see it in his movement, heavier steps, deeper breaths, still dangerous, still proud, but working harder for every exchange. Shakur, meanwhile, appeared almost unchanged, calm breathing, steady posture, unshakable discipline. Control of tempo transformed into control of fate. This wasn't a dramatic collapse. It felt earned, methodical, inevitable. After the final bell, the noise faded, and analysts got honest. Max Kellerman summarized it best. Super fights don't showcase branding, they reveal truth. Roy Jones Jr. highlighted distance and footwork. Shane Mosley spoke about rhythm, how Shakur stole it and never gave it back. Pressure failed because Shakur doesn't fight on anyone else's terms. The verdict was clear. For Shakur, pound-for-pound status stopped being theoretical. For Teofimo, this wasn't an ending, it was a recalibration. MSG 2025 won't be remembered for chaos. It will be remembered for clarity. Chaos entertains, but control conquers. That night, boxing explained itself, showing exactly how mastery, patience, and precision define greatness in the ring.